Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB) is the largest electricity utility in Malaysia and a leading utility company in Asia, with an international presence in United Kingdom, Kuwait, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, India, and also Indonesia, with assets of 99.03 billion ringgit Malaysia. Their primary activities are generation of electricity, transmission, and also distribution of energy. Not only that, they also involved in other activities include power plant repair, testing and maintenance, engineering, procurement, and construction services for power plant related goods. TNB have 9.2 million customers in Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah, and also Labuan, and this mainly consists of commercial, industrial, and also residential customers. Commercial customer is the second largest sources of electricity sales, which carrying out the business and commercial activities which drive the economy. As for the industrial customer engaged in the manufactures of goods and services, this has become the largest or majority of electricity sales for TNB. Residential customer represent the majority of Malaysia's 31.7 million population as company largest market to drive a better and excellent product and services.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Edry Luqman. Next, I'd like to talk about TNB's financial highlights. The first being the main shareholders. The first being Tenaga Nasional Berhad, owning 25.42%, and whereas the rest are significantly lower. Next is the financial highlights. I would like to touch upon only one, which is the most important, which is the overall revenue at the year end 2020, which is 43,976 million. Next is the company's financial analysis. The first being liquidity ratio. Both the current ratio and quick ratio are lower than the industry average, which means that they do not manage to pay their short-term liabilities as well using both their current asset and quick assets. Next is the leverage ratio. Their debt ratio is pretty high, meaning that they finance most of their company assets using debt, which results in them having more difficult time to borrow money. Next, the debt to equity ratio is much higher than the industry average. Example of it is that for every $1 in equity, they have to pay $2.7 in debt. Next is the efficiency ratio. The asset turnover ratio is slightly higher than the industry average. This means that they are better than most companies from generating sales, whereas the inventory turnover ratio is much higher than the industry average. This shows that they replace the inventory 6 times more in a year compared to other industries. Next is the profitability ratio. Their return on asset, which is lower than the industry average. This means that they're not as efficient at generating assets compared to their competitors or the other industries. Their return on equity, on the other hand, is just slightly lower but doesn't make much of a difference, so they generate profit on par with most companies. And then finally, the market value ratios. The dividend yield ratio is higher than the industry average, which means that the amount of dividends given to shareholders is higher than most industries. And then their earning per share is 0.63 cents compared to the average of 0.46, which means that the company pays more per unit share to shareholders compared to other companies. That is all for the highlights. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Azhar Bahrudin. Now let's go to short-term basis using few indicators for TNB stock. First is simple moving average. Based on the chart, we predict that the trend will downward for 1 or 2 days and will upward later after that. So the stockholders can set their buying price as the price still low. For moving average, convergence and dividends indicator (MACD) recommend that the stockholder to buy their stock, as we expect the stock price will increase in a few days later after the charts show the buy signal on 25th January. For rate of change (ROC) indicator, we can see that the chart started to increase from below zero line crossover on 25th January to above the crossover on 26th January. The increasing momentum will hold just for a few days. Next, for relative strength index (RSI), investor can be more aware of when to buy and sell their stock. From the chart, we can predict the price will drop. Thus, we recommend the stockholder to sell the current stock that they hold to avoid losses, as we expect that the stock could hold for 2 days, mostly on the line between 50 and 60. For stochastic, on the chart, we can roughly predict The K and D line will fall below 20, thus we recommend the investors to buy when both lines fall below 20 in the near future. As the K and D line has fallen on 25th January, we expect that the line will increase and will occur at least an overbought on the next few days. We also refer to Bollinger Bands for the analysis. We recommend the stockholder to buy their stock as we expect the upward trend reversal will occur in just for a few days and sell it when it breaks above Bollinger Bands. For last indicator is envelope. On 25th January, the stock almost crossed the below the envelope line, which that might be the buy signal. We predict the future price will rise as the price maintain their level for a few days. That's the recommendation for investor. They should buy the stocks before the price cross upper the envelope line. For candlestick pattern, we can see a lot of doji and dragonfly doji and an engulfing pattern. So that's for me. Thank you.
Now moving on to the intermediate technical analysis. Looking at the RSI, that it shows of nothing significance because the line is between the 70 and 30%. It shows no overbought or oversold in the last few months. For the MACD, moving average convergence evidence, it is below signal, and as it shows, it has probably reached its lowest low and will rebound after that. And looking to the stochastics, is oversold in the early 2022, showing that there is a gap there for traders to buy the stocks in hand. Moving on for the moving average, it is currently underpriced, and my advice for traders is to wait and buy the stocks beforehand. Moving to Bollinger Bands, it is still in between the bands, the price range. So it is advisable that the traders are holding their stocks or probably buy later on. Looking at the rate of change, ROC, it is below the equilibrium line, as it shows historically it will bounce back. So there is also an opportunity to buy. And looking towards the last indicator, which is an envelope, it advises that you sell because it's following a bearish flag downwards. So as a conclusion, the price will probably drop as low as 8.942, which is on its support 1. So if it bounces back, then
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Daniel. We'll continue on the technical analysis for the long-term basis. This is how the stock prices look like on a 5-year time frame, and this is how it looks like for the latest cycle. There is a certain candlestick pattern hinting at the continuation of the downtrend, which is bearish to the top in 2021. We use a few indicators to forecast the future trend. For example, the 18-month moving average exponential average with a trend line, 12-month and 14-month rate of change. The next one is 14-month RSI, envelope and 12-month MACD. The next is Bollinger Bands and 14-month stochastic. From all of these technical indicators, it suggested that the stock prices are on decline and it is best for investors to sell their already owned stocks. If we look at on a bigger time frame, there is a head and shoulder price pattern suggesting that the price will keep on declining in the near future. And based on all the technical factors, the signal here is strong sell and the target price is the current price as of now, January 2022, which is 9 ringgit and 6 cents. In terms of our price prediction in the near future, we expect that the price will break its first support at 7 ringgit 22 cents and the second support at 4 ringgit and 93 cents.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Syahirul Syazwan bin Rozaini. I will be summarizing this presentation. To conclude this presentation for short-term trend analysis, most of the major elements of technical analysis, the indicators are pointing towards buy signals with the target price of RM 9.025. This explains that our recommendation for customers and clients would be to buy the stock. For intermediate term, most of the indicators are pointing towards buy signal, whereas few of them, such as relative strength index, indicates neutral signal. The target price will be RM 8.942. We would recommend our clients and customers to buy the stock and hold onto the stock. Lastly, long-term show us the opposite, with majority of the indicators are indicating sell signals, as the target price will be at RM 9.06. The target price will also act as a stop loss, so we would recommend our clients and customers who had already have the stock to sell them to avoid suffering further losses. Thank you.